The following podcast is a presentation of Project Entertainment Network.
Hello, welcome to Staring Into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach. With me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
Hello. Ready for some pig.
Ready for some bacon.
Sausage, man. It's sausage.
Sausage is the best.
Sausage is infinitely a better breakfast food than bacon is. Sorry.
100% agreed with this.
I agree with that, too.
Sadly, there's no Michael Patrick Hicks today, but we have a temporary replacement with our special guest, Wesley Southard.
What's up, guys?
Mike just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, the pig was Mike's breaking point.
Oh boy, well, I'm sorry. I think I just destroyed the podcast with this fucking book. I think I broke up the Beatles. I yokoed this podcast with the pig.
If anything, Mike was Pete Best, and we'll just find a replacement after that.
Oh, there you go.
Right. Oh man. I think he was into it a bit more. He just loved it so much he just couldn't talk about it.
I will say, I first read The Pig back when I was living in China, and I was like, I need to read more Ed Lee. Extreme horror isn't always my bag, but yeah. Ed Lee's always a good go-to when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I've been reading Lee for probably 10, 15 years now, and I've like I was talking to you guys about before the show started, I've read probably 95% of his work, and I love his stuff. It's something that I don't know, he's always been a big inspiration to me, not necessarily what he writes about, but just the fact that he writes exactly what he wants to write, and he doesn't give a shit about what anybody thinks about it. He knows his audience. He writes for exactly what his audience wants to read. And I really appreciate that. And not to mention, he's a super, super, super sweet guy. I've met him twice. I've got to hang out with him. I got to see a movie premiere with him, and I sat next to him when he was absolutely piss drunk. And he was making noises the whole time, to try to keep himself from not passing out. He was going like like that, shaking his head and shit. It was so funny. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was funny as hell. It was like I'm sitting next to one of my heroes, and this guy's just blasted out of his mind, and he's trying to stay awake. It's really funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I love that guy to death.
I hear he's a really good cook too.
That I'm not sure about. I know he's real big into seafood and crab and stuff. I'm not myself, but yeah, I think he is. I from what I've heard, somebody told me that he's really, really heavily into crab and seafood. But at the same time, he also frequents his local Red Lobster a lot. So I don't know what to make of that, but
yeah. Right.
Sometimes nostalgia wins. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's the cheddar cheese biscuit.
It's the Cheddar Bay biscuits for sure. Right. I'd go there often if I could.
Have you ever read? So they at one point had an all-you-can-eat of those.
Well, they kind of are anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But this dude he sat and ate a whole this is a real, there's an article out there somewhere, but a dude he just kept eating, and he ended up having a heart attack because of how much butter was in his system.
That's a champ right there.
Yeah. That's an American hero.
Oh man, I think maybe a year or two ago, my wife on Valentine's Day, they were doing some deal where they were you could buy them. You didn't have to buy any other food, but you could just buy a case of those hot, fresh made Cheddar Bay biscuits straight from the store, and you could pick them up, and they came in a heart shaped box. I was like, oh shit, I'll take this over chocolate any day.
Right. That would be amazing.
It would be. Well, thank you for joining us on this week's episode, Wes.
Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Before we dive into the pig, which will be quite the discussion, I think we should offer a trigger warning for our audiences, just for all the triggers.
Oh God, yeah.
Because the pig's gonna get fucked up.
Just a bit.
And before we dive into the pig, we like to give kind of some recommendations of stuff we read or watched this last week. So after our discussion of Godzilla vs. Kong last week, I decided to rent Shin Godzilla.
Nice.
Which, if you haven't seen Shin Godzilla, fix that ASAP, because this is one of the best Godzilla movies I've seen in a very long time.
I've heard that, yeah.
So in the movie, Godzilla in this movie is created from the Fukushima nuclear disaster thing. And the movie's kind of a commentary on the ineptitude of the Japanese government, where the politicians are putting their careers over like actually helping people.
So it's like every government.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
And so out of this giant monster comes and is destroying everything in its path, and it's powered by radiation. And the more people attack it, the more they feed it, and the more it grows until it starts becoming this indestructible, unstoppable force.
So Doomsday, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a scene in this movie.
Does he start out as a Komodo dragon on an island?
Yes. Is Matthew Broderick and Frank Azaria in this film?
Yes.
Thank you. I was thinking that. Jean Reno going after.
They actually reference the American 2014 Godzilla movie in this one too.
I might be one of the few people that really, really loved that first Godzilla movie, that 2014 one. I thought it was fantastic. I know a lot of people sleep on it because he wasn't in it enough, but when he was in it, it was so good. It was the buildup of waiting for him to be in it. When you first see him come on Hawaii, when he first see that big footstep, and then it just pans up to show him, it was so fucking epic. It was so cool. Like, I'm not even that big of a Godzilla fan to begin with, but that movie was the shit. It was so good.
I'll never forget seeing that movie in theaters, and when Godzilla roared, the entire theater shook.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I don't mind the 2014 Godzilla movie. My big issue with the American Godzilla movies is they take themselves a little too seriously. And they don't give the human character, like, you're watching Godzilla, you don't give a shit about the human characters. But if you're going to have human characters, at least develop them.
Yeah, somebody should have told that to the people that made King of the Monsters a couple of years ago, because those characters made that movie literally unwatchable. Like, I saw it in the theaters, and I hated every second of that movie. And I like most of the actors that are in it, but they had the worst roles ever.
I agree.
The actor that played the dad on Get Out.
Yeah,
he was in that movie. He was in the old Adam Sandler movie too. He's been around for years. I can't think of his name.
Bradley Whitford. He played the worst, most obnoxious fucking character on the planet in that movie, and I hated every second of him on screen. I hated it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, King of Monsters put me to sleep 2 out of 3 times I watched that movie.
It's not good. Everybody loved it, but it's just it's cool because like it's got the other monsters, sure, I guess, but like I don't know. I'm not a big kaiju movie fan to begin with, but like that movie was just it was so stupid.
The thing is, if you're gonna have like giant monsters, just make it fun.
Yeah.
Yes. You can't.
And that's what I like about this movie is it balances a line between like, well, one, it makes Godzilla super threatening.
Which is
okay.
Good.
And all the side parts between the Godzilla scenes are like the politicians trying to figure out like what the fuck to do. And they're actually well developed and they're believable characters, which makes it work. And Godzilla keeps on evolving. And the scene when Godzilla uses like, what is it, the atomic breath?
Yeah.
It's like one of the most holy shit moments I've ever seen in a movie. Like, it packs such a punch.
So what kind of Godzilla is it in that movie? Is it like a CGI one or is it like a dude in a suit? I don't know. It's both. Oh, okay.
So what they did is they use both practical effects and CGI effects.
Okay.
And the bigger the Godzilla becomes when it gets to the CGI parts, they actually had the same guy who did the rubber suit stuff do the motion capture.
Okay.
Nice.
So it still captured the person in the suit feel, unlike the American ones that we had recently.
Okay, did you guys think that the CGI of Godzilla since that first movie has gotten progressively worse? I think like Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, the CGI of Godzilla itself looked bad. Like
but Kong looked great.
Kong looked good, but Godzilla looked terrible, actually.
Yeah, that's probably why he wasn't in it as much.
I guess. I just didn't think he looked very good. It looked like they rushed it. Honestly, it looks like they rushed it.
And one thing that's cool about this movie too is it uses the original they use the original Godzilla roars for this movie.
Oh, nice.
From the 1950s Godzilla, and they use the original Godzilla score.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's music cues that they haven't used since the 54 movie that they're using in this one. So it's a big homage to the original. It's really good. I highly recommend it. You can rent it for $3 on Amazon.
Is it a standalone or is it part of a series?
They haven't. So it's a standalone for now.
Okay.
I'm going to sound like a huge Japanese nerd right now. But the guy behind Shin Godzilla, he was also behind an anime series called Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of the biggest anime series.
Yes.
And he's doing another live action movie. For those of you who are in the know of the Japanese Kamen Rider series, he's doing a Kamen Rider movie called Shin Kamen Rider. And that's going to be fucking wild. For those who don't know Kamen Rider, it's Power Rangers.
All right.
All the fight scenes with the guys in the rubber suits and stuff in Power Rangers, those were Kamen Rider scenes.
Awesome.
That's all it is. But he's doing that next, so that should be interesting after watching Shin Godzilla.
Nice.
But if you I'd say it's worth a check out. Sometimes Godzilla looks a bit cheesy in early on with practical effects. It's obviously a rubber suit, but the stakes feel very real. Godzilla feels like a really serious threat, and the effects are really cool. Yeah. And that plasma breath scene alone is worth the price of admission for the movie. He literally levels an entire city just using plasma breath.
He's pretty gnarly looking too. I've Googled some pictures of him. He looks pretty cool. He looks very horror-ish.
Yeah, it definitely plays more like Godzilla is a serious threat more than Godzilla is our ally. He's helping protect the Earth.
Nice.
This one Godzilla's fuck your shit.
So he's not laying eggs in Madison Square Garden.
No, he's not laying eggs in Madison Square Garden, but he does asexually reproduce.
Hey, look at that.
And he's leaving remains that could grow into new Godzilla forms.
Gotcha.
As he's going
call it remains. He left remains.
Yeah, they fall off his skin. They literally fall off of his skin.
Oh wow.
It's gnarly.
Oh man. Godzilla 98. That was a classic.
Yeah.
You know what? That
soundtrack was one of the first albums I ever bought.
That soundtrack was huge.
It was a huge soundtrack, man. It's huge.
That Rage Against the Machine song?
Yeah.
Well, it had that updated version of Brain Stew by Green Day. It had the Wallflowers. It had
that P. Diddy song with the Led Zeppelin sample.
Yep.
the Casimir.
Come with me.
Yep. Oh man.
I had a giant Godzilla toy from that movie that had a toy tank with it, and when you push the top of the tank, the Godzilla toy roared.
Amazing.
But yeah, though that movie, I don't know. People hate that movie, and I agree it's a bad movie, but I have nostalgic feelings towards it. I was 10 years old. It's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
But Matt, what about you for recommendations?
All right. Last week I had talked a bit about Michael Cisco's Antisocieties, and I finished that. And I just wanted to bring it up. There's two stories at the end, Antisocieties and The Water Machine, that are probably the best stories I've read in a long time. The Antisocieties story is this weird thing where people are watching a building, and then there's these administrators that come up and these people sitting on these benches have to tell you everything that's happening, this administrator. And if they don't agree with what you're saying or whatever your observation is, they'll do these punishments and they cut off a guy's foot and then they take somebody's eyes, and it's just really tense, and it's just an awesome, creepy story. And then The Water Machine is just amazing. It's this psychologist who is studying this woman who believes in this new number. There's a number between 7 and 8, and she believes in this water machine and how we're only alive when we drink water. And anyway, they think the psychologist is getting so obsessed with this patient that they take him away. Well, he figures out figures out some crazy algorithm to through everything she said to make him talk to her through this algorithm. And it's just so weird. I mean, it's exactly what you expect with Michael Cisco stuff. So it's really bizarre and strange. But man, those stories just knocked me out. So I finished that. And real quick, because I know we started talking about it last week too, but Jurassichrist, I'm about halfway through that. It is absolutely bonkers and amazing. I just love that book. It's just so crazy. Jesus, or JC in the book, he's ready for his second coming, and but he goes back to the Jurassic era, and all the dinosaurs are super smart, and the dinosaurs want him to stop these mammals from blowing up. Basically, these mammals are terrorists in this giant dinosaur utopia, and so he's got to go and find them. And these mammals are exactly what you think. They are dirty, disgusting little rats that climb around in their own shit, and either they want to kill him or have sex with JC, and they don't, because they realize how big he is. And so now he's trying to figure out what in heaven is causing this crazy progression of people and things in the Jurassic era. It's absolutely bonkers and totally worth reading.
Yeah, Michael Allen Rose is he's a good dude. I'm friends with him. He's a really funny guy, but I haven't read any of his stuff yet, but he seems to have a very good imagination.
I've read his novella, The Indifference of Heaven, and that's really, really good.
Yeah, I have read that one. I forgot. Yeah, that is a really good one.
I'm like halfway through Jurassichrist, I stopped it because I got You Love Me, and that kind of jumped to the top of my queue because I love Caroline Kepnes, but I'm going to get back to Jurassichrist soon.
It's amazing. I love it. It's like this tiny little, almost like what you would imagine like a pocket Bible. It's just this little paperback, and it's JC. Whenever he talks, he's always in like Art Thou and this like old English language, but at the same time he has no problem grabbing a gun. Or when this beast like attacks him in heaven, he like basically plants a grenade in himself to blow up this beast. It's just so messed up. Jesus. And the only way for him to get up to heaven to like figure out what's going on is he has to have the dinosaurs crucify him. So he's like, I need to get to heaven, crucify me.
It is such a fun book.
It's insane. It's a lot of fun.
What about you, Wes? Any recommendations so far?
Honestly, my reading and TV time has really been cut down quite a bit over the last year or so, just because my writing output has been much higher. But as far as like movies and stuff, like I watched Kong versus Godzilla, like I guess that Friday it came out, just because like I just was curious about it, and it was fun. I liked it a hell of a lot more than I liked King of the Monsters. But then again, I didn't actually see Skull Island, so I never did get around to seeing that. I've heard good things, but yeah, it was a fun movie. Let's see, what have I watched? Last night I started watching my co-writer Mark Steensland's new movie, Jacob's Wife. I got about 40 minutes in, and then I was falling asleep because it was like after midnight, and I just recorded another podcast last night with another group, and so I was very tired. And I was like 40 minutes in, I was like, I'm really, really enjoying this, but I can't do this, and so I'm gonna finish it probably after this. But that was actually very good so far. I love vampires, so that was definitely a plus. TV, again, I haven't really been watching much TV lately, although I did just rewatch the entire series of 30 Rock recently.
Love 30 Rock.
I never got to watch it when it was on, but holy shit, I love that show so much. I was so sad when I got done watching it. That show is so brilliantly written and just so well acted, and it's so fucking funny. I loved it. And it never, even in its like, what was it, like eight seasons, I think is what it had. Like there was never a point in any of the seasons where I was like, oh, this is where the show's going downhill. Like it consistently stayed funny as hell. It was so good. I love that show so much, and I miss it now. As far as books go, a couple weeks ago, I finished reading The Handyman by Bentley Little. I really enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites of his, but that was a really good one. It was kind of even a little bit weirder than his normal stuff, which is strange because he always writes like really weird stuff anyway. But no, I enjoyed that one quite a bit. And right now I'm actually reading The Night Stalkers by Christopher Triana and Ryan Harding, and I'm about a third of the way through that one.
Nice.
Yeah, and that one's fun. It's about two grocery stores, and one of them is run by a satanic cult, and they find out that the other grocery store, the people that work at it have to work overnight, like cleaning, because they think that their store is not being as populated as it was before and being customer wise. So the satanic grocery store goes up the street and finds that out. So they break in, and basically it's like wholesale slaughter. So yeah, it's a pretty wild book. But I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from Triana or Harding. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
I need to read that one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good book. I like it so far. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been in right now.
Yeah, The Handyman, I listened to the audiobook, and I think maybe I should read it because the audiobook I wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah.
Bentley Little's fun. Like, The Mailman's one of my favorite horror books.
I got into Bentley Little finally this last summer, actually, because I've been told for years by people that I need to read him, especially Keen. Keen's been harping on me for years to read Bentley Little, and it's just, I don't know, I just never just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just the titles of the books or just the look of the books. Something just kind of turned me off. I don't know why. But then I just decided, fuck it, I'm going to read something. So I picked The Association, and I was absolutely floored. The Association is now like one of my favorite books ever. It's a brilliant novel. I love it so much. But yeah, I am a fucking diehard Little fan now. I have all of his books. I went from having like 4 of his paperbacks that have been sitting on my shelf for years to having literally all of his books now. Every single one of them. Like, I am obsessed with Bentley Little now. I love him so much.
Have you read The Mailman?
I have read The Mailman. I read it a few months ago. Yeah,
that book's so dark.
Yeah, it's really good. It's not one of my favorites, but it was pretty good. But yeah, I really loved The Association. The store is excellent. The Consultant was really, really good. The Bank, his newest one, was fantastic. Not as big of a fan as the short stories. I don't know why. His short stories, for some reason, don't click with me very much. They're okay, but his novels usually are fucking excellent. So
if you can find it, he did a Friday the 13th novella that's really fucking good.
Oh Lord, I can't imagine what that would be like.
No, Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay. Well, I am a diehard Nightmare on Elm Street fan, so I'm surprised I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has a Nightmare on Elm Street novella. The book's out of print.
Okay.
I found the novella on Reddit like 5-6 years ago, and not advocating for how I found it, but I did find it on Reddit.
Yeah. Well, I have a novelization that Ray Garton did of part 4 and 5, but I think he did it under his pseudonym. Why am I blanking on his pseudonym? I can't even see the book on my shelf right now. But Ray Garton had a pseudonym in the mid '90s when like horror was basically dead. Oh, Joseph Locke. That's what it was, Joseph Locke. And and he was doing all kinds of stuff. Like he was doing like a lot of novelizations and stuff. Like Ray Garton literally did the novelization of Good Burger. Nobody knows that, but it's under his pseudonym, Joseph Locke. He did, I think, the novelization for the movie Can't Hardly Wait.
Oh my god, I didn't even know they did that.
Oh yeah, he did. He did the novelization for Elm Street parts 4 and 5. It's in one book because they're both kind of like longish novellas. And he also had like a small series under that name that was kind of like a young adult like horror series. Yeah, that's something not a lot of people know about. But yeah, he did Good Burger.
So I was on my Kindle. The Bentley Little novella is called Miles to Go Before I Sleep.
Okay.
Oh, and nice. He kind of like rewrites Freddy's origin in this novella.
Okay.
It's an interesting take. Like I like it a lot. But his short fiction doesn't always work with me, but that one did.
Yeah.
I will say at least for us on the podcast, one thing we have been doing is because we're all dorks, is we've been keeping up with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Hell yeah.
Have you been watching this show too, Wes?
Oh my god, yes. I'm like the biggest MCU nerd. Yes. But Falcon and Winter Soldier has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
It has.
Like I still think that Captain America Winter Soldier is an absolute top tier Marvel film. It is minus the cosmic stuff. It's very ground level, but it is amazing. It still holds up so fucking well.
Yeah.
It's a movie that I have no hesitation showing anybody that has never seen a movie in the MCU. It is amazing. And that's what this show feels like.
Yes. 100%.
It's a very grounded movie, like a very grounded series. It has a nice buddy cop vibe to it too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yes. I just love when Bucky was hitting on his sister.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that was perfect. Yeah, oh man, this last episode was just awesome. I just loved them taking down Walker. And I mean, like, and I we might have talked about this before, but he is so perfect, Wyatt Russell. Playing this like smarmy character, and I feel bad that he's getting all this like hate because he's doing this so well. It's just amazing. You love to hate him. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It shows what a great actor he actually is shown that how there was. I remember years and years ago, I used to watch the show ER with my mother because we were both really into that show, and there was a character on there that was a doctor, and he was the biggest prick on the planet. I fucking hated every time he came on screen. I loathed him until I realized, wow, this guy is that good of an actor where he makes me just fucking hate his guts.
Yeah,
and that's good acting, and that's exactly what Wyatt Russell's doing.
Yes,
and yeah, Wyatt Russell, like I've known who he is for a long time because Kurt Russell's probably my favorite actor, and I've been kind of slowly paying attention to what Wyatt's been doing, but this has definitely been his big coming out party for a lot of people, and I think he's got a good future for him. I'm excited to see where he's going to go after this.
The first time I saw Wyatt Russell was in a Black Mirror episode. It's in season 3. I forget the name of it right now, but I was watching it and I was like, this dude looks just like Kurt Russell made love to Goldie Hawn. And then the end was like Wyatt Russell, and I was like, fuck.
I think the first time I saw him was in 21 Jump Street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he played the football player in that, and I didn't realize that was him until I looked it up. Was it I thought it was the first one where they were at high school.
He had the red herring tattoo in the 22 Jump Street.
Oh, okay, maybe it was that one. Okay. But yeah, it was. Yeah, that's the first time I see. Yeah, because he had that whole scene with the Q-tip and the meat, and they were like, "Oh, it's meat cute." Yeah, that's what it was. It's so stupid.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, when he was in front of basically getting dishonorably discharged, that was pure Kurt Russell. Just the way his stare. And what he was yelling, I was like, man, if anyone had any question on who his dad was, you don't anymore.
Yeah, no. And when he was fighting Bucky and Falcon, it was trying to smash Falcon with Cap's shield. I was like, fuck.
Yes, that was great. Yeah, and
I thought this episode was so well done because there wasn't a lot of action. The action was right there in the first 5 minutes. The rest of it was all character stuff, and I think that's what made this episode so great. It didn't need the action in it. It needed the stuff at home with Sam's sister and Bucky trying to kind of mend even their kind of weird relationship, and yeah, it was so fucking good.
Yeah, and I mean I will applaud Disney for not shying away from when Sam went to see what's his name to offer up the shield, and just all that whole scene. I can't think of.
Shit, why?
I forget his name too, but the super soldier that we met in episode 2.
Isaiah Bradley.
Yes. Yeah. That whole scene, I mean, they did not shy away from the fact that they're like, America wouldn't want a black Captain America. And just everything that they talked about there, I was just like, man, that's really cool that they didn't shy away from any of that conversation.
Well, because I think Disney knows where their cash cow is with Marvel, and they know that I think they trust Kevin Feige to be able to do his job, and he knows what he's doing, and they know what the writers are capable of. So
yeah. Exactly. And out of all of the MCU, I mean, the Captain America stuff has always been the most grounded and most commentary on our current situations. I mean, just everything from, Winter Soldier, exactly, I think is probably one of their best movies. And you don't even need to be a Marvel fan to watch that and appreciate what they're doing and talking about in that movie.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, but it was such a great episode. I love that they busted up Walker's arm.
That was gnarly looking. Yeah,
that was really gnarly.
I had to have somebody explain to me what, like, because I had read for like a week leading up to it that there was going to be some big cameo and a big thing or something, and then I watched the episode and I was like, was the cameo Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character? Because that went over my head who that was supposed to be. But then I talked to a huge comic book nerd friend of mine who explained to me who she was, and I was like, oh, okay. Cool, I guess. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed because I was like, are we going to find out who the broker is? But whatever.
Yes.
They were supposed to introduce her in
Black Widow.
So you're saying having been previously introduced to that character.
Okay, so that character is going to be in Black Widow, I guess?
I think so.
So.
Unless they have fixed it. But when that was supposed to come out before this, that was supposed to be kind of the lead up, so we would all been like, oh, crap, it's her.
Gotcha. So it is Madam Hydra, right? Is that what I was told? Okay.
Yes.
So she's trying to rebuild Hydra and hire this new Captain America super soldier to kind of work for Hydra.
At least we'll see, because apparently she also has a fling with Nick Fury. So we'll see. We'll see if they put her in with Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't blame Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is still good looking,
right?
But that post-credit scene too was or the mid-credit scene was pretty intense as well.
Yeah. I loved watching Sam just train at the end of the episode for 10 minutes. That was just so fun watching him just become what he's now meant to become, and getting rid of his wings and shit. That was really cool too. I guess so. I read that that friend character of his, the army dude, I guess is going to end up being the next Falcon.
Yes, in the comics he plays Falcon, and then also Isaiah's grandson, the one that kind of is protective. Yeah, he plays. Oh God, he's in the Young Avengers. I feel like Marvel's setting us up with that just by introducing Wanda's twins, and then Hawkeye's daughter, and then him. I think they're getting ready to do that. So,
well, is the Hawkeye series? Isn't the character that Haley Steinfeld's playing? That's not his daughter though, right? That's just a girl he's training. I thought Kate something. I think.
I don't know because I haven't seen much on the show. I just know I think it's supposed to be his daughter, but I could be wrong.
I don't think it is, but that's fine.
Who knows?
We'll find out.
Yeah, exactly.
What's coming out after Loki? I can't remember. It's not Miss Marvel, is it?
It's either that. No, I think it might be the Nick Fury show.
They're doing What If as well, kind of soon too.
Yeah, because I know they've shot Hawkeye, they've shot Miss Marvel. They're just actually, I just read that they're just started shooting She-Hulk. God, what else is there? There's so many. They announced so many shows. I know that they're about to start. I know they're about to start shooting here soon. Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So Miss Marvel. So What If is first in episodes will come up mid 2021.
Okay.
After Loki, Miss Marvel will be after that.
Okay.
Then Hawkeye will be after Miss Marvel.
Okay, so yeah, Miss Marvel is a show, a character I know nothing about. I'm not a comic book guy. I really never have been. I just love these movies so much, and I just I have to either Google search who these characters are, or I talk to my nerdier comic book friends who know the stuff, and they'll tell me who the people are. So then that's how I end up finding out who these characters are.
Yeah, for some reason I always end up reading because I do read Marvel, but I always read the characters that aren't the bigger characters. So
when we were reading the Six-Figured Man arc from Defenders at the same time.
Exactly. Moon Knight's the biggest one that they're making a show on that I've actually read a lot of well before them making it.
I love Moon Knight.
So yes.
Yeah, I've heard he's like a schizophrenic Batman or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
That's cool. I like Oscar Isaac, so that'll be cool.
Right. And then I just watched Synchronic, so those two are Moorhead and Benson. They're doing Moon Knight, so I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Synchronic's a good movie too.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's really good. The one comment I will have on that is they wear their indie background well on their sleeves. It's very indie movie, even though it's kind of a bigger one. And now it's kind of big on Netflix. I think they'll get a lot of that, and with Moon Knight, I think they'll get a lot of traction and a lot of attention. But this one, I loved it, but there's plenty of that very indie kind of mumblecore kind of stuff in it where I was like, oh, okay, they're spending a lot of time on things and making things seem more ominous than they are. Though I do wonder if I watch it again, just because it deals with time travel. If I watch it again, maybe I'll pick up on why.
I've seen it 3 times, and it gets better each time.
Nice.
So
okay, good.
I'm getting stoked. I'm getting stoked.
Joy.
Yeah, I'm getting stoked about Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah,
I know they just finished filming that. I know that for a fact. I think I read that they finished filming it yesterday or something.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I'm stoked about that. But I love Sam Raimi, so I'm stoked that he got the nod for that after Derrickson left.
Yeah, he's perfect for it. I think it's gonna be great. Yes.
I'm also Sam Raimi's perfect for that. I'm also interested to see like how Marvel handles a horror movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I think it'll be great. I have yet to be disappointed by any MCU movie other than the Incredible Hulk movie. I'm not that movie sucked. Like, I'm sorry. Like Hulk on his own is a super boring character, and everybody keeps harping for like a Hulk movie, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna fall into the same traps as the other movie. He's a boring character. He's a character that works well as an ensemble or with somebody else, like he did with Ragnarok. Like, that was fun, but Hulk by himself would just be boring as hell. Like, I don't.
Can I recommend a comic to you, Wes?
Yes,
sure.
The Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is Marvel's newest Hulk series, and is treating the Incredible Hulk as if it was a horror story.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some really good horror moments in it. They go to hell in part of it too.
Yeah.
It's wild. But nice. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
I would love if after the new Doctor Strange, they're like, oh, cool. And after them doing, maybe not Morbius, but if they do Blade, then if they explore this, because it's total The Thing / Hulk /
I'm so stoked for Blade. I'm so excited that they're bringing Blade in the MCU. God, that rules. I love it. Especially with Mahershala Ali. Like, he was awesome.
Yes.
Blade was the first rated R movie I saw.
Really?
I don't think it was one of the first ones I saw, but it was definitely up there. But yeah, the first Blade movie is still fucking awesome. It's such a cool movie.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Even though Wesley Snipes is a fucking douchebag from what I've read. Right. It sucks because he's a really good actor, but I've heard he's a fucking asshole, and that kind of bums me out. But
yeah,
it is a bummer.
One more thing I will say about the new Marvel movies coming out too is I forget his name, but the actor who played Doc Ock in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah,
yes. Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina, yeah.
He confirmed that this Doc Ock is the same character in the new Spider-Man movie.
I can't wait for this new Spider-Man because I love those 2 Spider-Man movies, but I am really worried about this one because I feel they're going to jump the shark really, really hard with this film.
With the Spider-Verse stuff?
With the Spider-Verse stuff. I'm personally not into the Spider-Verse stuff. I wish that they would just stick to the plan with this movie and just tell a cool story without having to bring in like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all that shit. I don't want to see any of it. I want them to stay in this universe with this movie and just have fun with this. I don't want to go back and see Alfred Molina again, even though he was awesome. Yeah. I don't want to see that again. If you're going to do Doc Ock, do a new Doc Ock. I don't want to see the same Doc Ock. Like, I don't know. I'm just worried that this movie is going to get to the point where it's going to be too much.
I'm intrigued by it. Like, I think the Miles Morales like CG Spider-Verse movie was how the right way to do Spider-Verse personally.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just make it its own thing, and I love that Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Yes.
But
I don't know.
We'll see how Marvel does it.
I had a hard time getting into the Spider-Verse movie. I don't know. It was cool, but I don't know. Like I said, the Spider-Verse thing just doesn't really do much for me personally. But I don't know. We'll see about shit. What was this movie? What was the new one called? No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm just a little concerned about it, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But I don't know. All the stuff I'm reading about it, I'm just like, oh god, this might be the undoing of it. But we'll see.
Yeah,
I have faith in Kevin Feige and Marvel, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
it feels like they're packing a lot in. I mean, and that was I think I saw the first 3 Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, and I haven't seen one since. And I feel like that third one, which it's been blasted a lot, so I don't need to go any more than they tried to do too much with that.
And that's the problem. They tried to do too much with the third movie. And
you know what happened with the third one, right?
It was studio interference, I thought, right?
Yeah, Sony wouldn't let Sam Raimi do his original vision because Sam Raimi didn't want Venom in the movie.
Yeah.
And Sam Raimi wanted to do, like, he had a specific vision for the movie. And Sony was forcing him to do, like, all these things that he didn't want to do. So the movie ended up being a giant fuck you to Sony.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Which is probably why it's so bad. It was just Sam Raimi's just giving his middle finger to Sony.
Man. Yeah, it wasn't a good one. The Andrew Garfield movies, I saw the first one. I didn't like it. I didn't bother with the second one. And then, like, they're bringing in, like, Jamie Foxx to play Electro again and stuff. It's like, come on. Why are we rehashing the same actors? Do something new. I don't want to see it again.
I thought Jamie Foxx was interesting as Electro.
Yeah.
Was good.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie. I just know that he's supposed to be in this one playing the same character again. It's like, come on. I don't want rehash.
No.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm happy the Marvel Cinematic Universe is trying new things.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to rehash, like, the old formula.
You know, they're gonna have to spend another 10 years building up again. I mean, it felt like the first 10 years was this big, you know, like, oh God, I'm gonna come, and then Avenger, and then Endgame was like, all right, I just came, and now, like, everything after this is like, all right, I gotta fucking my refractory period, I gotta get it back up again. Like, that's what this feels like now.
It does. I kept thinking about that too, where I'm like, man, we did 10 years of this, and if they're going to try to do that again, it just feels like a lot to be back invested in. I mean, and I know, like, Bond did it, and, like, there are these giant universe series movies that go on forever, so it's possible, but I don't know. It just feels like a lot.
I know a lot of people aren't that excited about whatever's coming forward, like Shang-Chi and the Eternals and stuff. It's just like, you know what? I don't care. It's a MCU movie. I'm going to see it regardless on opening night. I don't give a shit.
Exactly.
I like Shang-Chi, so I'm interested to see what they do with that.
I'll tell you what I'm more excited about than anything right now is next Friday. I got my tickets to go see Mortal Kombat. I can't fucking wait. God, I love Mortal Kombat. I love the original movie. I still love it. I rewatched it just recently with my wife who had not seen it. It's still a cool movie. It just
it's fun.
It's fucking awesome. We're not going to talk about Annihilation because I pretend that movie doesn't exist. But the first Mortal Kombat movie is a blast to watch. It's so much fun. The fight scenes are great. The only thing I hated about it is they treated Sub-Zero like a bitch.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero did not get nearly as good of a fight scene as Reptile and Scorpion got. And Sub-Zero is my boy. And now that I know that Sub-Zero is like the main bad guy of this new movie, oh dude, my nipples are so hard. I'm so excited.
I'm primed and I'm ready to go. I'm going to open HBO Max on Friday and watch that shit.
Yeah. Oh, I got tickets to go see it in IMAX. Like, I'm stoked. I can't wait. Well, I got my second shot 2 days ago. Let's go. Let's fucking go, man. I'm ready.
Right? I can't wait to see movies. I got next week. Next week is my second shot. So
yeah.
Ooh, good luck with the side effects.
I didn't have any side effects either time.
Yeah,
I was after the second shot. I was bedridden for 2 days.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things. I know some people get them, and the same thing for you. It's just they're done for a couple days, and then same thing for you, Wes. I've heard they got it, and then they're just like, "Yep, ready to rock."
Well, I also had COVID back over Christmas, so I'm wondering if, like, just having that still, like, in my system, or like the after effects of that maybe kind of countered the after effects of the shot. I don't know. That's what I think maybe, but I had nothing. I feel good other than just being tired right now. I just haven't gotten enough sleep this weekend, but yeah, I feel good, glad, I'm happy. If they said something about a possible booster shot in 6 months, it's like, yeah, fucking give it to me as soon as you can. I don't give a shit.
Right? Exactly. It's like, I'm taking that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, after we've gone through all those,
speaking of shots, let's talk.
Speaking of shots,
oh god.
Speaking of shock, speaking of illness and feeling icky, I think it's time to go inside this abandoned shed, give some hookers some heroin, fry up some bacon, and talk about the pig.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. This story. We can get into it, but like Richard sent us a couple of times. He was like, "Oh, you guys gotta read this book, or you gotta read this story. It's amazing." And he would send us like the first paragraph, which tells you right away what this story is going to be. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to that someday. And then you're like, well, we're doing it on episode. And I was like, okay.
I never said we're doing it. I said Wes wants to know if we want to discuss the pig, and you guys said yes. I never said we're doing it until you said yes.
All right, so I've actually got a really funny story, and I hope that the people involved in the story don't mind me telling it. But about 2 years ago, right after Keen was in his accident with his fire accident, before his accident, it was supposed to be me, him, Stephen Kosniewski, and Mary San Giovanni. We were supposed to do a signing in Baltimore, which is like about 45 minutes from us. So his fire thing happened. We couldn't do it. We had to wait till like September. So we all drove down together in his car. And as we were driving back up, Keen and I are like both big Ed Lee fans. We love Ed Lee stuff. We've read all of his stuff. Mary and Steven are not as big of fans of his stuff. Either they just don't like it or they haven't really read his stuff. So as we were going back up home, we were talking about his books and we were laughing at all the disgusting shit. And I remember in the other, Mary was sitting in the front passenger seat. Steven was sitting next to me in the back seat. And those two looked like they wanted to vomit with the stuff that we were talking about. We were laughing so fucking hard. And I remember we started talking about the pig almost right before we got back to his house. And we were laughing about it. And neither of us could remember off the top of our heads what the first paragraph of the pig was. So as soon as we pulled up to his house, he jumped out of his car, ran inside, grabbed the pig, and then we came out and sat on the back lawn, and he like read the first chapter to us just out loud. We were fucking I was in tears. We were laughing so hard, but like Mary and Steven looked like they wanted to puke. Like it was so fucking funny.
I just love like the opening paragraph of the pig tells you everything you need to know about this book.
Absolutely. That's what's so great about it is it yeah, exactly. It lets you know exactly what you need and it grabs you with the first fucking sentence, which besides it being disgusting, that's exactly what your job as an author is to do, especially in horror. You have to grab your audience with the first paragraph, but the first line in particular, and that story does exactly that.
The best line though is even the pig was appalled.
Yeah, the pig was appalled.
Oh man, yes. I I did feel awkward reading it around people, but I kept having to like put the Kindle down and be like, okay, no one look at this. But you know what? It's entertaining in its grossness.
And Ed Lee kind of shows off his writing chops in this story too.
Yeah.
People don't realize that he actually is a very, very, very talented author. It's not just, it is a lot of gross for gross sake, but like his prose style, he's a very, very talented author. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think they take his stuff at face value at like what they think it is. And then when they actually read it, they go, oh wow, that's actually really, even though it's gross, it's very, very well written.
Yes.
Like Leonard's short story that he has the whole thing written in the pig. It's like really well written. And like,
oh yeah.
I noticed that too as I was going through it, where I'm like, man, he knows what he's doing. He knows where he's going with this story. Just the style that it's sort of somebody telling us about this, and so like just a little like little things of like, well, I'm not going to say their name, or I'm just going to put their last name, or I'm just going to like just the way he tells it. If you look kind of beyond all the pig and all the animal stuff, you're like
the wet films.
Yeah, the wet films.
It's like this is a really genius, well crafted story, and and we could get more into it, but I just love that it's almost like a commentary on doing whatever you can for your art.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's all Leonard wanted to do. He wanted to be a filmmaker. He wanted to make a movie of his short story or his script, and then just ended up getting mixed up with the mob and owing them money, and got his nut cut out of his ball sack, and then I got stuck making scat flicks and all kinds of disgusting wet films and all kinds of disgusting shit for the mob to pay it back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The snuff film he had to record.
Oh my Lord. God. That was something. Out of everything that happened in this, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Yep, and that's the beauty of Lee. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to write exactly what he wants. He's going to tell it exactly the way he wants to tell it, and you're going to take it. That's all there is to it.
And you can tell, like, Lee's laughing the entire time.
Oh yeah, and that's the beauty of his work. He's never really serious with his disgustingness. It's always looking at you as the reader, and he's winking at you. That's he does it with everything.
Yeah, totally. He's definitely having fun with it, and he's like, well, this is happening, and I'm gonna tell you exactly the way it is. Yeah. So, yes, the pig. Yes, everyone, like we said, trigger warnings. There is no holding back.
We're going full spoilers, so
yes, it's in the house. I guess we should tell people it's in the house.
Yeah, so you can buy it. You can buy it on Amazon. In the book called The House, you have the novella The Pig, and then its sequel or companion story, The House. The House isn't as extreme as The Pig.
Yeah, The Pig was written back in 97 as like a standalone thing, and then he wrote The House back in 2005, and then Necro put them together in the book, which I wish that they would at least put the pig on the cover, like the title, The Pig on the cover, because it's confusing when you're telling somebody to, check out The Pig. You got to say, but its title on the cover of the book is The House. So it's I don't know. I think I wish they would have at least added the pig on the cover as part of the name, so you could at least kind of get that through to people.
Yeah. Because that took me a second to find when we were talking about it. And then finally, I think Mike was like, oh, it's in the house. I was like, okay.
I sent you a link to the book, Matt.
Yeah, I think you did that too. And I think that helped too. I'm just trying to, help Mike since he's not here.
Yeah.
But, Jesus, so I will say The House isn't as intense as The Pig is. But The Pig is, I think we should just... I don't even want to read the first paragraph on air, to be honest with you.
I'll do it. I don't care.
Do it, Wes.
I'll do it. I don't give a shit. Let me see. All right.
The audience is going to be in for.
Sissy looked at the shot glass full of pig semen and threw it back neat. Without hesitation and in a smooth single gulp, she swallowed it all, smiled into the camera, and then licked her lips as though she had just tasted exemplary cuisine. And then, Sissy, what's the... No! Then blanched and threw up on the floor. Fuck, Leonard, this is sick, she sniped, more falling out of her mouth as she did so. This stuff tastes like, ugh. And then Ralph threw up again. Leonard smiled. Leonard was appalled. Sissy was appalled. Hell, even the pig was appalled.
It just goes from there.
Well, yeah, it starts like actually closer to the end of the book, I guess, the first paragraph, and then it goes backwards in time and then goes forward again. So
it does a lot of time jumping in this.
So we kind of learned a little bit about Leonard's past.
Yep.
And we learn about Sissy and Snowdrop.
Yep.
Snowdrop. What's the other one?
The two girls in the house.
Yeah.
I think it was Snowdrop. That sounds right.
Snowdrop too. Sounds right to me. And
Sissy and Snowdrop. That's what it is.
These two girls are heavily addicted to heroin, and they don't really eat food. They just shoot heroin.
Yes.
Well, they're forced to eat SpaghettiOs, I think.
Yeah, they're forced to eat spaghetti.
Yes.
And the mob gives them spaghetti cans and heroin every time they come to visit.
Which is once a week, and sometimes they forget, and it's just dog food.
Yeah.
And the two mob guys are fucking hilarious.
Well, those mob characters are actually characters from his other books. I don't remember if those particular characters are, but the Vincetti character, the main mob boss, is a character from his other books. So a lot of Lee's stuff is in a shared universe that he's been cultivating for years, which ended up coming to fruition in the White Trash Gothic series.
I like the two mobsters. They made me think of, and I don't think this is a deep cut, but an old cut. The two mobsters in the Looney Tunes cartoons. There's like there's a short mobster, and then there's a tall dumb mobster. Yeah. I totally warped them in my mind into this awful or this horrifying story.
Nice.
Oh my god, it's just amazing. And yeah, poor Leonard. His dream is to make movies and to be huge in movie making, and he doesn't have the money, and he works everywhere, and he keeps stealing stuff and gets caught, goes to jail, and just makes everyone happy in jail.
Yeah.
And and then eventually he goes to New York, and he runs across one of the mobsters, and they give him money, and he's like, oh, cool, I'll pay him back in a year. It should be fine. Little as you know, it's the mob, and they're like, we need our money now. 100% or 100 points. Yeah. And since he can't pay, they take out a testicle, and then they use them for movies.
But they do it very gently, though. They take the testicle very gently.
Yeah, they do it very gently.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I love that scene because the big mobster is at Knuckles is ready to kill him.
Knuckles.
And the other guy, which I can't remember the other guy's name, is like, wait, he makes movies. Let's use him in the movie. Like, don't hurt him. He makes our best movie.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then that's when he discovers. Oh, and this is like, I love the time jump because we like kind of get into sort of a present where he's in the house, because it's just this little shack out in the middle of nowhere, New York, and he's getting ready to film all this stuff, and then it jumps back to then, and then it jumps back to them taking him to the house, and they're like, the last guy was an asshole, you better not be like that, watch all the movies and you'll see why. And he just tries. He's like, well, I can do this.
Well, yeah, and also the book takes place in the 70s as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's all old film stock porn that he shoots. I just love like this poor guy, like everything that bad can happen.
This happens to Leonard.
He works at like a buffet, and then the
owner's daughter, yeah.
Oh yeah, is it the daughter or the wife? I can't remember.
Oh, sorry, the wife, owner's wife. Yeah,
wife gets just like says he's super hot, and they have sex. Then he gets caught by the owner. The owner has sex with him, and then says you can't work here anymore.
I forgot about that part actually. Yeah. You can't fuck my wife. I'm gonna fuck you now. Yeah.
And just the way Ed Lee does it, he was like, Leonard was 2 thrusts away from finishing, and then he gets whacked in the head.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay. God. He's like, well, I learned in prison just to let this stuff happen and make them happy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Why'd you pick this story?
Well, I picked it for a few reasons. One, because I wanted to see if your guys' gag reflexes still worked, which it obviously does. No, like I said, I'm a diehard Ed Lee fan, and I feel like he doesn't get enough love out there. And I felt like this would be a good chance to show him some love. And I almost chose Header because Header's a bit more popular, and people kind of know the story of that one a little bit more. Plus, there's a movie of it. There's a movie of it as well. Oh, the movie's fantastic too. The movie is quite literally 100% the book. Like, it was shot like damn near shot for shot. It's brilliant. And plus, the guy that plays Grandpappy in it is fucking hysterical. Like, that guy was born for that role. He was amazing.
And Jack Ketchum has a cameo in it.
And Ketchum and Lee have a cameo in it. Yep, they both play cops.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie. If you can find it, I don't think it's for sale anymore, but if you can find it on like eBay or something, 100% buy it. It's so good. I almost chose Header, and then I was looking at my bookshelf, and I was like, you know what? I haven't read The Pig in like 10 years. And I looked it up, and I saw it was only like 80 pages. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I don't remember this book real well, but I remember it being very notorious. It's like, fuck it. Let's give this one a shot. And I'm glad we did. Because I don't reread a lot of stuff anymore, but I'm glad I did reread this one because it was fun.
Yeah, I read this a few years ago, and I was reading it. My girlfriend was dealing with side effects from the vaccine yesterday. So she's sleeping next to me in bed as I'm just reading The Pig.
Like we've said, it's a lot, but it's very entertaining. And you know what? It's funny because it's kind of like this. Like, I kept trying to think like if he was trying to do something with this, or just like I'm just doing something crazy, because there's a lot of like sort of interesting commentary about the mob and about porn and the porn industry. And I was like, oh, like if you kind of, and maybe I'm just reading a little much in it, or I was hoping maybe there's some more and it wasn't just I'm going to write about some really crazy shit. But I was like, oh, he talks about how like the mob kind of lost its footing on everything, and this was their only thing they could do was porn. Yeah. And then just like this like horrible like things that people had to do for porn in the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this book came out in 97, the original The Pig. So at the time, Lee's been writing since the late 80s, and his first two books were under the name Philip Straker. He wrote a book called Nightbait and a book called Nightlust, and apparently they're both very, very bad. And Lee doesn't like talking about them anymore. Like, they're not in print anymore whatsoever. Like, they're very difficult to get a hold of. He even like makes fun of people if they bring it to him at a signing. Like, he doesn't like signing them either, but those were very much like police procedural type books, I think. But then in the early 90s, he put out his book under the name Edward Lee, which still technically is not his real name. I mean, if anybody knows Edward Lee, his real name is actually Lee Edward. So, but Edward Lee actually sounds like phonetically better. So Ghoul was kind of his first foray into horror, but it wasn't a real big success. But then by the mid 90s, he really wanted to write like just real fucked up stuff that wasn't being written about. Cause I mean, the Splatterpunks were around in like the late 80s, early 90s, but like they weren't even going as far as the stuff that like he wanted to go to. So then, then enters Dave Barnett with Necro, who obviously wanted to publish something crazy like that. So that's when he came out with, like, he wrote The Big Head, he wrote Header, he wrote The Pig, and that's what he became notorious for. He became notorious for writing that type of extreme horror, that type of splatterpunk that he's so well known for now. But he also, he also writes the stuff for like Leisure when Leisure was around, the more mass market stuff. But his most well-known stuff is the extreme stuff, because he made a niche for himself, and he does what he's good at, and that's what he's good at.
And he's good at it here.
and yes, and also R.I.P. Dave Barnett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a brutal loss. I was lucky enough to meet Dave in 2019 at KillerCon, and he was a sweetheart. I'm so glad I got to meet him. His Necro was a big deal for me years ago when I first started getting into horror, and I have so many of their books, and they put out a lot of really great stuff in that subgenre, and it's a damn shame that he's gone now.
I don't read too much extreme horror, but Necro, like everything I've read they've put out, I've enjoyed, from like Charlie Jacob and Edward Lee and
Ryan Harding, some of Rath's early stuff,
Patrick LaSmecca.
Gerard Horner's stuff. Yep, some Piccirilli stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it's all really, really good stuff.
It is. He definitely had a good eye for it.
I just with Lee, I just love how silly a lot of his stuff just comes across.
Oh, absolutely. Like he's got a great sense of humor.
Like it's hard to be like, you should read this book about like making bestiality porno. It's really funny.
Yeah. And
it's hilarious.
Which, like, yeah, exactly. If you kind of take a stop at it and just be like, okay, this stuff is happening. This shack has lots of crazy things in it. But then, if you take a step back, you're like, it's actually really funny, like, what's happening and just how Leonard kind of deals with it. And his mindset of just like, I'm only in here for a year. I can do this. And like, I also love that he, about halfway through, he starts introducing the neighbor community and like
Epiphanites.
Yes.
Yeah,
and just what that is, because like you get like a hint at it at the beginning where they're like, you can't escape. There's like this crazy community that they're not going to take you, or we'll know you're there. And then as Leonard's looking through a video, some outside, because he's still, despite filming all this like bestiality and porn, he's still like, well, I got to get some good like establishing shots. And I got I can still make it artistic by putting.
I got to make the best movie I can make.
Yeah, I'm going to come up with these cool titles that everyone loves. And he's looking at some of it and he sees a face. And then the one of the ladies from the community comes into the house, and this was right after he kills the pig. He's all like trying to hide it, and then
the girls kill the pig.
Oh yes, the
girls beat the pig to death because the pig ate their heroin.
Yeah.
And then Leonard decides to cook the pig because they have no food.
He's so hungry. He loves it. Oh, I love that because he just gets tired because he has to ration out the heroin. So every day he gives them a little bit, and then they finally like. I think after the pig scene, he's just like, whatever. You guys are driving me nuts. We have no food. Here, have all the heroin. Have fun with it. And then
I do love when they're filming. What was it when they're about to film the snuff film? I'll rewind a little bit because I'm reading my book right now. I just love when they put on the masks.
Oh my god!
It's just
like the presidential masks.
Yeah. It's just like, what's that, Mr. Rocco? Leonard inquired. Farm grade speed. She won't pass up from the pain. Then she wants her fill in the whole job, Rocco explained. Oh, Leonard said. Then Rocco again. Knuckles, get Dick Nixon. Yes, this is ominous, all right. The masks, Leonard realized. Rocco pulled the jolly rubber Richard Milhouse Nixon mask over his head. Knuckles followed suit with Barry Goldwater. At least they're keeping it all in the party.
Oh my lord. Yeah, that snuff scene, out of all the scenes, that one you're just like, what is happening?
That was brutal. That's a really hard. Out of all the scenes in the book, that's the one that gives me the most pause to read.
Yeah. Man.
The sad thing is I've read so much worse from him.
He's brutal.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's funny. I got another story. Occasionally I will just get it in me that I like feel like reading something out loud. So I'll find like a short story or something and I'll go read it to my wife and kind of practice my reading out loud because I really like to read out loud at conventions and stuff. So one night I got it into me that I wanted to read Edward Lee's story, The Baby. So if anybody that knows Lee's story, The Baby, knows how notorious it is. And it's not necessarily notorious for gore. It's just a absolutely disgusting fucking story. And when it was first published as like a chapbook by Bloodletting Books back in the mid 2000s, Larry Roberts actually made him cut out one particular scene. The whole book is the exact same as it is when it was reprinted a couple years back from Deadite, but he made him cut out one scene, just one tiny little couple of sentence scene that was restored in that Deadite edition. But I remember reading this story to my wife, and it's kind of a longish short story. It's probably every bit of 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 words. So it took me about 45 minutes to read. But by the end of it, my wife was very, very quiet. She was laying in bed. I was standing over her. She was laying in bed underneath the covers. And I remember I finished reading it and I closed the book and I just looked at her and she's kind of staring up at the ceiling. And then she kind of looks over at me and then very quietly goes, "You don't love me, do you?" Oh man, I got a laugh out of that. That was pretty funny.
That is amazing.
Yeah. The baby's about a guy who's trying to escape. I think he had done some like money laundering or something at like a job that he was at, and he was like running away from it. So he was on a bus and he's traveling to like a town that Lee tends to write about a lot called Luntville. I think it's Luntville, West Virginia, I believe, or Luntville, Virginia. And as he's there, this gigantic prostitute is on the bus and she has a baby with her. And as he gets off the bus, she follows him and tries to solicit him like at a bus stop. And things happen and a baby is involved in some stuff. And the baby's not involved in any of the stuff that happens, but it's what she does with the baby afterwards. That is, it's
no.
That's the part that, let's just say some things were spoon fed to the baby.
Oh no.
It's foul. It's fucking foul, but it's hilarious. But that's the scene that got cut. Okay. My cat is on the desk now. There goes my microphone. Thanks, buddy. Damn it. All right. You can still hear me, right?
You can hear you.
Okay, yeah, my cat jumped up on the thing and knocked my thing over. Sorry, buddy. Get off the desk. So yeah, it was that's one of my favorites of his, because like I said, like I love Lee because I don't take Lee's stuff terribly seriously, and he doesn't take his stuff seriously. It's all disgusting and horrible and awful, but it's also funny, and he's winking at you as he's writing it, and it's fun. That's all it is. It's fun. Like you can read extreme stuff like Wrath James White, and I love Wrath James White. He's one of my favorite writers, but his stuff is very, very bleak. A lot of his stuff is very much without humor. His stuff is very cut and dry, fucked up extreme horror, whereas Lee does a lot of stuff with like a wink and a nod and a nudge. So
yeah, I think that's definitely the one thing I got out of this was that, of course, some of it is bleak, but not really. He's kind of just like, well, this is kind of happening, and he's having fun with it, and he's not like, you know, out of all of it, the camera, we're all through Leonard's point of view, so we're not, you know, he's not wallowing, Ed Lee's not kind of wallowing in Snowdrop and whatever the other lady's name is. You're not kind of in that space, so you're not getting kind of, that would be bleak if you're in that head space, or or the snuff scene, you're not in that head space, you're seeing it all, but you're not there, because even Leonard, he's like, he kind of checks out of it, and that's kind of like, you get the descriptions, but it's kind of in him looking through a camera. And so, you know, that was like, despite all of it and everything that's happening in it definitely, you can definitely feel the wink happening.
Yep.
And you're just like, all right, he's testing things out, and he's having fun with it.
One scene we also skipped over was Plugger.
Oh God.
Was Plugger, what was it?
The guy with the giant.
Oh my God, yeah. That scene is one of the one things that I do remember from that book before I reread. I forgot about it until just now when you said that. Yeah, that scene I have always remembered. Yeah. A dick going into another dick.
Yeah. I when he said it too, it's like, Leonard stared, blinked, gulped. You want me to sodomize this man? Rocco frowned, setting the kid on the shoulder. No, kid. You ain't gonna butt fuck him. Get your rollie up and fuck his dick. Leonard said.
Oh my God. And the dude's just cool with it. He's like, it's fine. Go right in there.
He's very blasé about it, yeah. Lost so many listeners, man.
I know, everyone's gonna be like, what are we talking about?
Was it Rocco? I'm looking through it right now. Hey, Rocco cat from behind the whirling camera. Maybe you'll have a dick baby.
Yes, I do love that. Like, he makes these two mobsters, like, I mean, they're appalling, but like, they have these like funny little side jokes that are like, they're bad jokes, but it's funny to hear them make these bad jokes. And I'm not like, not gross bad, they're just bad jokes.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just entertaining. But yeah, so I guess we'll jump into, he cooks the pig. He doesn't even have sex with the lady. He because she like touches him with her foot, and he just comes.
Yeah, but she wants him to like finger her and then like fist her, like make an entire fist inside her.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. And then she leaves. She's like, oh, it's cool, whatever. And then he eats the pig, and he gets really mad. And he tears the two film stars apart. And then we find out later, he tears the mobsters apart in a very sort of satisfying, very humorous way. And then he goes to this village, and it's just so funny. It's such like a wet dream. He goes to this village, and it's like all these girls there, and he's green, he's giant, and he's muscular, and he has sex with all of them for hours.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because it turns out the whole story with the pig itself was taken by the mobsters from that village, because the villagers, the Epiphanites, were using the pig as a part of like a ritual where they would purge the sins from themselves or all their bad thoughts of the world into this pig, and then they would slaughter the pig so all of their sins and bad thoughts would be gone forever. But then that pig, before it could be slaughtered, was taken and by the mobsters to the house so the girls could film with it. And then when he ends up eating it, he ends up absorbing all of those terrible things, and he ends up becoming something really terrible himself, which turns him into the big green giant cock demon, basically.
Yes. Oh my God, it's just so funny that
so much.
I do love that. Like, to jump back a little at what the pig, like Knuckles asks Leonard to clean out their car because the pig was in the front seat, and Leonard finally has enough, and he's like, no. And and then he's about to get killed, and that's when Rocco's like, no, he makes the best videos. Don't touch him. You clean out the pig shit. And I just thought that was, you're like, yeah, Leonard, he's finally getting his some muscle there.
He's finally getting his comeuppance.
Yeah. And I do, like, it's so funny because, like, Lee, like, does, like I said, he kind of, like, hints at this thing, and then he hints a little bit more, and then he goes into, well, now Leonard's a demon. You're like, wait, when did this happen?
Yeah.
When was I reading this story? So, like, okay, I didn't read The House. So does The House happen after the pig?
I'll be honest, I read The House years ago, and I don't remember a single thing about it. I didn't read it for this read either. I don't remember anything about it.
I only read it like 4 years ago. It takes place 30 years after the pig.
Okay, because like,
and the only connections are they go into the same cabin from the pig, and you have the ghosts of the characters from the pig. So they see the whole flashback of Leonard fucking the guy in the dick hole, and Rocco's like, yeah, fuck that dick hole.
Oh my god. Because, like, he sets it up because, like, Leonard cooks more of the pig and leaves it in the oven, and then he leaves. He's got plans, so he's going off to, I don't know, California or somewhere. But then, like, you get the bigger, maybe not the head mob boss, but kind of like head of security goes to this house to figure out what's going on. And that's when you discover, like, oh, Rocco's head has a dick in its mouth, and Knuckles is, like, stapled to the wall. And then because what you normally do when you go into a house full of murder is, and you find a plate full of meat, you just start eating it. No questions asked. You're like, oh, mysterious plate of meat, I'm going to eat it. So, like, I was wondering, I'm like, oh, is he setting this up that the mob's now going to have some demon guy as well?
Yeah, the house has very little to do with the pig, besides, like, some references here and there to it.
Gotcha. And I do love the ending. Perfect, like,
how he wins the film festival awards, but, like, he'll never know.
Yeah. That's like his whole motivation. We didn't cover that, but his whole motivation through this whole house is like, my movie that I filmed with this mob money is going to make it to Cannes. It's going to win Cannes, and then I'm going to be able to do other stuff. And other directors have shady pasts, so it's all right that I'm filming all this porn. And so, like, you're hoping throughout this whole thing, you're like, man, Leonard's finally going to get what he wants, and he never finds out. Like, I kept thinking about, and I don't know, this is completely different, but if you've read Edward Gorey, he has, was it The Matchstick Girl or something? Or The Paper Flower Girl, where this, like, because it's Edward Gorey, so it's always depressing, and this, like, little girl gets lost in, I don't know, London or whatever like that, and this creepy guy steals her and makes her sell paper flowers, and her family's looking for her, and it's Edward Gorey, so she never eats, she lives in the dark, and it's just like this horrible thing happening. And she, if I remember correctly, either she doesn't find her dad, she gets out in the street and a car hits her and she dies, and it was her dad driving the car. And so, like, I was thinking about that for this, where he doesn't die, but, like, man, he got what he wanted, and he'll never know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this book.
It sounds like you enjoyed your first time with Lee, though, Matt.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining, and it's like you said, Wes. He has the chops. I mean, like, it's really well written, and so I would definitely check out more just because his style. I like his style.
I would say if you're looking to read more of his stuff and you're not wanting to go like the total extreme route, I would try the books that he put out through Leisure, like Slither or actually the City Infernal series is really good. At least the first two books were really good.
Christine Morgan City Infernal, or the Christine Morgan Lake House Infernal.
Lake House Infernal was really good. Yeah, that one the Splatterpunk the Splatterpunk that last year, the same year that I won mine. But yeah, I have the hardcover of that too. Yeah, I'd say try City Infernal. City Infernal is really good. That's not quite as hardcore. I mean, it's got a lot of crazy stuff in it. I mean, it's about like the actual city of hell. Like the city of hell is a real city that exists that's made of blood and bones, and there's like, you know, goblins and all kinds of crazy shit living there. It's a cool book. The first two books are really, really good. I like those a lot. Nice. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's not quite as extreme, but I mean, it's always there. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say if you're looking for stuff that's not quite at the extreme side, I'd say look up like the books that he put out through Leisure and give those a shot.
Or you can go all the way extreme and just jump into white trash gothic.
I love the first white trash gothic, but I wouldn't recommend it to start. Because you're gonna completely miss all the references. Like if you're looking to read the stuff that leads up to it, definitely start with like the Big Head. The Big Head's a big part of the white trash gothic series, but I would read the Big Head. I'd read the Minotaurus. Let's see, what are those? The Header books, the Infernal books for sure. Creakers, Incubi, Succubi. What else? I'm looking at my shelves right now. Just the stuff like that is the stuff that's been leading up to that for like the last 2 decades. So yeah, I wouldn't go into white trash gothic dry, because you're gonna miss all the references. You're gonna be like, okay, I guess whatever that means.
Header was my first Lee book. And
Header's a classic.
I remember reading it like, what the fuck is a header? And then the first header scene happened, and I just died laughing. I was like, why am I laughing at this? This is so fun.
Header 2 is even better. Header 2 is probably my favorite Edward Lee book. It is so funny. It's so off the wall and so ridiculous. And it's the funniest shit I've ever read. Like, I love Header 2 so much. I feel like I should reread that one soon. But God, yeah, Header 2 is fucking fantastic.
Ed Lee's he's just something else.
Yeah.
But I'm happy I had this excuse to revisit The Pig, because I forgot how funny that book is.
Yeah.
You know, and I was thinking, and we've talked about The Freak Show before, and, you know, that one is not the same, but I guess out of the two kind of like, I don't know, maybe sort of gross out stuff, I like this one way better. I thought we
read Urban Gothic too. We liked that one a lot.
Yes, that was great.
There's some good gross up moments in Urban Gothic.
Yeah, Urban Gothic's good.
Yeah, I mean, and like, it's not the same for anyone listening. They're not the same, but just like the way it's delivered and the content, I think The Pig actually does it a lot better. And just it you actually kind of, you know, like, you care for Leonard and you want to see him do well. And you want him to get out of that house, and you want him to win the Cannes Awards. So there's that. And again, it's just the way, like, I loved the way it's written in how it's like somebody telling us this story. I thought that was just brilliant. And just the way it's done, you feel this story and this like urban legend almost kind of like this house and what happens. I thought that was just so cool the way he delivered that.
Yep, absolutely.
It is just a really great extreme horror book.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining us on this discussion, Wes.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm glad I could provide this fun book for us to read.
I have a burning question for you, since you're a Kurt Russell fan.
Oh, what's up?
Is Captain Ron in Cruel Summer a Kurt Russell reference?
Captain Ron in Cruel Summer. You know, that I didn't actually. That character was based off of a friend of mine named Ron Dickey from Canada.
Really?
Because I even think the character. I think I may have said that the character was Canadian. I could be wrong. I don't remember. But no, actually, funny enough, it wasn't. But I didn't realize that until afterwards.
Because I was reading it, I was like, that's a really obscure Kurt Russell movie reference that Wes is putting in this book.
No, weirdly enough, it was not, but that's funny because I guess if somebody wanted to take it that way, that's fine. But yeah, that's actually based off another friend of mine, Ron.
That is pretty funny. I will say Cruel Summer is a really great book.
Oh, thank you, man.
I had a good time with that one.
Thank you.
And is there anything you have coming out that you want to promote that our listeners can check out?
Yeah, absolutely. So as of right now, and I know you said this wouldn't be out for a while, the hardcover, the Thunderstorm Books hardcover of Where the Devil Waits that I wrote with author Mark Steensland is out for pre-order right now. I know the last time I spoke to Paul at Thunderstorm, he said there were less than a dozen left, but that was like about a week and a half ago, so it's hopefully significantly less than that. So that'll probably be sold out by the time this comes out. And then the actual paperback and ebook from Cemetery Gates Publishing of Where the Devil Waits will be out on May 22nd. And then we haven't announced this yet, but I actually just announced it on a podcast that I recorded last night, so I'll go ahead and say it here because it'll be out by the time this comes out. Summer and I have a hardcover of our book Slaves to Gravity also coming out from Thunderstorm as well. It's, I believe, will be out in June. So we've already signed the signature sheets and stuff, so that's done. And yeah,
you haven't heard yet, but I rave about that book in a couple upcoming episodes.
Oh, cool. Awesome, man. I appreciate that. So yeah, that's the stuff I have under contract right now. And other than that, I'm going to be spending most of the year on the road, at least 1 or 2 shows a month at conventions. So I'll be busy all throughout May, all the way to late November. I mean, up in May, like I'm doing Vegas and Monster Mania out here, and nothing in June right now. And then like doing Monroeville in July, and then Kansas City in July, then Scares the Care, then Creature Feature Weekend in Gettysburg in August, and then Crypticon Minneapolis in September, then a show in Harrisburg in September. Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky in October, and then Monsters of Horror in Tulsa, Oklahoma in November. So I'm busy. Oh, dude, I love it. I love traveling, and I love doing these shows. I love meeting new readers. I love hanging out with my friends. And a lot of these shows I'm either doing with author John Wayne Comunale, or I'm doing it with I almost every time I say Wiley Young, I almost say his real name. And I have to stop myself. So yes, I do it with Wiley Young quite a bit. But yeah, so I'm on the road quite a bit this year.
That's awesome. It's so nice that it's all happening again. So
yeah, I know for sure. Last year was brutal.
Yes, that was rough. So
I can't wait to go back to cons.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. It'll be nice.
It'll be very nice. And where can our listeners get in touch with you, Wes?
I am very accessible on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I also have a profile on Slasher, but I've kind of abandoned it, honestly. I've got kind of bored with it after about 2 weeks. I don't really know what to do with it, honestly. But yeah, I'm on all 3 of those. I'm on all 4 of those. I have my website, wesleysouthard.com. Again, I'm very easy to find.
Awesome. And Matt, what about you?
I am on Twitter at BrandenburgDM.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Rudy53088. Be sure to give our podcast a follow at Into Staring. And be sure always to give our podcast a rating, review, and help us spread that abyss around so it consumes all. This is Richard Gerlach saying keep staring.
The Unsupervised Podcast, a show about acceptance and diversity.
I guarantee you these are all white children.
You gotta shoot your shot, man.
Oh, Mick, do you want some rhinoceros?
A show about love.
It's called like a chicken McGangbang. It's like a...
Whoa, I'm the chicken McGangbang.
I'm always grumpy, so I want to dominate it.
I'm not part of the pounding tube movement.
With some high-class humor and some science.
You need to move your lips more.
Give me another rim job.
The popcorn gives you a boner? I don't get this.
It's science, okay?
Okay, maybe more like the Seinfeld of podcasts, not really about anything specific, but we're going to make you laugh and entertain you for a little while. So tune in every Thursday exclusively on Project Entertainment Network.
This has been a presentation of the Project Entertainment Network.